So I welcome you to all my presentation, Sustainable Goat Farming, a catalyst for doubling farming income. So if you talk about any enterprise, there are three different things. First, we should check its challenges. What are the challenges in the enterprise? Then comes the what are the opportunities in the enterprise? Then is the future perspectives, how we can improve it. Then in the again it coming in the circle, the challenges, then opportunities and future perspective. So what is the potential of goat farming? First one is it is considered as the economic powerhouse of the livestock. Why? It contribute over 60% of livestock income in the rural as compared to the cattle and poultry. The goat is having the short generation interval period as compared to cattle, buffalo, and it is having ability to produce multiple offspring, means a faster rate of investment and quicker herd growth. That means a income of the farmers can be increased in a very short span of time due to its short generation interval and multiple birth potential. There is also a high market demand for goat meat, milk, and other produces from the goats, that is fiber, manure, in the livestock sector. Goat meat is considered as a lean, healthy, and protein meal as compared to the other protein sources like chicken and pig. The milk of goat can serve as an alternative to cow milk, having distinctive nutritional benefits. Beyond food, goat is having the fiber, manure, fiber in form of the mohair, Kashmir, and other revenue opportunities which can provide economic benefits to the farmers. So in terms of real numbers, there is a capital income increase and sustainable development due to goat farming in a small farmer practice. What is the reason behind demand of goat meat? If you check 100 gram of goat meat and 100 gram of chicken meat, the protein content is nearly equal in goat and chicken meat. However, the fat content, specifically the cholesterol content, is less in goat meat as compared to chicken meat. Some of the beneficial minerals like iron, zinc, copper, manganese are higher in goat meat as compared to chicken meat. So goat meat can be a better alternative source of protein as compared to chicken meat. What is the socio-economic benefits in the goat meat? The women farmer are more benefited in goat farming as it is less labor intensive and it increases autonomy of the women farmer in the household. There is increased household income due to involvement of the women farmers in the farming community. The food security is also increased due to application of the goat manure in the field which is cultivated for the rice and other sources. I have seen the goats are normally kept, like particularly I am talking about the Ganjam goats, which is cultivated, which are kept in a very large community, like 200 to 300 animals per herd, and they are kept inside a encroach, not inside the house, rather in a field itself. And the farmers are giving some incentive whenever they keep their goats in the field of a farm. How to improve the goat farming? Three different aspects. One is the feeding. Second one is the management. Third one is the breeding aspect. So I am a man of animal genetics and breeding, and my focus will be on the breeding itself. But I will touch upon some of the aspects of the feeding and management. Goats are natural browsers. They are having preference towards some of the shrubs, weeds, and the tree leaves that are not consumed by other animals. That's why the cost of feed for the goats is less, and this reduces the need of expensive commercial feeds, making their upkeep essentially economical. So if you check the picture, I'm standing behind one of the farmers with the feeds. What are the herbs or what are the crops they are using for the goat in the Ganjam condition. I have given a concentrated feed mixture composition that can be used if goats are maintained in an intensive management system. We can include maize, soya, groundnut oil cake, tea oil and groundnut oil cake, de-oiled rice bran, pirichuni, minerals, and common salt. And in the right side, the column, we have included what are the amount of each component that can be used for 100 kg of total composition. So coming to management aspect, the first one is the identification of the animals. If you don't go for identification of the animals, then only it is difficult for proper care and management. So what we are doing, we are going for the ear tagging method. Other methods are also available, like injectable tag, which can be read by the some of the barcoding method. We are also giving some of the small booklets that can be used by the farmer for the record keeping. This one. And the regular measurement of the body weight gives an idea about the health status of the goat. So what are the common problems in the health problems in the goat? The first and foremost is the parasitic problem, both internal and external parasites. They are causing severe debility and morbidity in case of goat. So a regular deworming schedule guided by fecal egg count is a critical for goat farming. Another thing we can do by rotational grazing of the goats. That means whenever we are going for grazing for one direction, we can grazing for another direction in the next day. Then comes the distribution of the meat. That means the marketing of the meat. We should ensure there should be a steady demand. That means there should be a regular demand of the goat meat, and farmers should get the fair price for their goods. Otherwise, the goat industry will not be a sustainable one. There should be a regular demand, and the farmers should get a fair price. The participating in local farmers market or direct to consumer sales can also provide higher profit margins for valuable customers. Some of the common worm infection that we found: pneumococcal, Monagia, strongyloids, esophagostomoms, trichostrongyloids, emaria, and isospora. We have enlisted some of the common symptoms that are found due to worm infection in the goat. We are regularly doing the fecal egg count and microscopic examination of the fecal sample in the goat. Deworming is a regular practice in goat industry as far as we are concerned. The common symptoms like anemia, poor hair coat, persistent diarrhea, abdominal pains are most prevalent symptoms in the goat parasitic infection. There are three different dewormer that can inhibit the goat parasites like benzimidazole, imidazothiazole, and macrocytic lactose. Some of the common names on the benzimidazoles are albendazole, enbendazole, oxybenzole. In case of imidazothiazole, levamisole, parental, morantel, and macrocytic lactones, ivermectin, moxidectin, and boramectin. The kids should be dewormed at the age of 3 months, and a regular deworming at every interval of 3 months should be done. The deworming medicine should be changed as regular interval. That means if you are doing deworming at the 0 day with benzimidazole, on the 4th month, you should be doing the deworming by imidazothiazole to avoid drought resistance. Nowadays, combination of dewormers are available for multiple wormers, which is better. This is all about the internal parasites. About the external parasites, those external parasites can be removed by allowing the animals for dipping, like malathion, simathion, pyrethrin. So how to go for a dipping? You should choose a sunny day, bright sunny day, so that what will happen? The animals will not be leaking their solution and the animal should be dried immediately. The goat should be given proper rest and proper watering before dipping. Sick animals and the bogs before breeding season should not be going for dipping. It will create some of the infection or some of the infection in the wounds. Dipping should be done before evening, before 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. So next problem in the goats is some of the viral diseases, and that can be inhibited by vaccination in goats. The common vaccine for the goat pox, enterotoxemia, PPR, and FMD. The goat pox can be done at the age of 3 months, and that can be repeated again once in a year. The enterotoxemia vaccine can be done just before weaning, and the second vaccination at the age of 6 months of age. The PPR vaccine should be given at the 3 months, and it should be repeated once in a year. Sometimes the FMD vaccine may be needed at the age of 4 months, which can be repeated again once in 6 months. Then comes the housing of the goats. Different types of housing that we have observed in the Ganjam goat that I have enlisted. The tin roof and the mud floor and the bamboo side one, the first one, left first one. Another type of housing is asbestos roof and elevated bamboo floor. Either the floor may be mud roof or it may be an elevated bamboo floor. But the elevation should be in such a height that it should be cleaned at the bottom around 1 month interval. Nowadays, we are giving the plastic saturated elevated floor to the farmer so that it will be more durable as compared to bamboo floor. The better one is the straw thatched roof and the plastic shutter roof. It is less costly and goats are more comfortable in the shed. Then the breeding in the goat. We have discussed about the feeding, the management, and the breeding. Next one is the breeding of the goat. The goat, is a multiple kid producing animals. They can produce multiple birds. However, in case of Ganjam goat, they are single kid producer animal. But in case of Ganjam goat, what will happen? The birth weight of the kid is higher as compared to other kids found in different parts of Odisha. So for proper breeding procedure, what we are doing, we are going for the selection of the breeding bucks. Because the buck is considered as the half of the herd. If you use a better quality buck, we can impregnate a large number of females. So it is always to select the breeding box for the animal for a better farmer's income. What are the different criteria of selection that we are using? We are using the first one is the body weight of the animal. The average body weight at the 1 year of age, in case of enzymes, suppose 19 kg. Then we are using a selection differential procedure that will be more than the body weight of the average animal. Suppose 5 kg. So what we will do, we will select an animal which is around 24 or 25 kg at the 1 year of age, and those animals are actually given to the farmers for breeding purpose. The other criteria, that is phenotypic performance and the reproductive performance, are also examined by different experts. The non-productive or the inferior quality breeding bug should be called by castration procedure. Otherwise, what will happen? These inferior quality breeding bugs will also impregnate animals, and that will create inferior quality kids. Till now, we are using a conventional breeding strategy for improvement of the breeding bugs. But nowadays, we can use a genomic approach for breeding. What will be the advantages of this approach? In conventional approach, you have to wait for 1 year for selection of animals. Suppose you want to select the breeding bug at 1 year of age. That means you have to select those animals and you have to keep all animals till attainment of 1 year of age. Then you record the body weight, and based on those body weights, you have to select animals. That means you are estimating the breeding value after attainment of the particular time or particular age. However, this method is creating more financial burden to the farmers. How it is happening? The farmers are forced to keep those animals till 1 year of age. That means they have to spend sufficient amount for inferior quality bulls till they attain the 1 year of age. That is the main limitation in the conventional breeding. It is increasing the generation interval and decreasing the financial benefit to the farmers. So, if you can know the animals are going to attain this much body weight at the early stage of life, that will certainly decrease the financial burden in case of farmers. So, for that purpose, a genomic approach is best suited for determining the breeding value of the animals. The genomic approach also increases the accuracy of selection. And the genomic selection is useful for sex-limited traits. So how it is used? Suppose a milk production trait. It is only confined to the female animals. But a female is produced by fertilization from the both male and female parent. That means the male parent is also contributing for the traits which are expressed in the female, and that is also applicable to the milk production traits. So in that case, a male is not producing any milk, however it is contributing towards the milk production traits, and this is a sex limited trait. So how we can determine the value or the genomic value or the breeding value, genomic breeding value of male animals for the sex limited? For that purpose, we have to go for the genomic pattern. How it is done? let me explain. What happens? First, we have to record some of the morphometric traits, suppose the milk production. Record the morphometric traits in 1,000 or 10,000 number of animals. At the 1 year of age, these are producing this much amount of milk. Then what we have to do? We have to genotype them. That means we have to isolate their DNA samples, and we have to know what is the sequence, genotypic sequence or the DNA sequence that is particular to an animal. Then we will go for the association study. That means genomic association study, GAS. And that will be useful for estimation of the breeding value or the genomic breeding value of the animals. Since the sequencing or the determination of the sequence of the animals is nowadays costly, though its cost is gradually decreasing, till it is very costly. This is not popular among the different scientists. Whenever the cost of sequencing will decrease, it will be certainly possible for estimation of the genomic breeding value, and then at very early stage of life cycle, we can go for selection of animals, and the unproductive or the inferior quality animals can be eliminated or called depending upon the genomic breeding. So these things I have explained where the goat genome. Goat is having a global significance and they are having significant economic impact and the cultural heritage. Goat may be the first animals to be domesticated, and this will give an insight to the interaction between humans and animals if you study the goat genome. So how it started we are going for the goat genome. The first reference goat genome was published in the year 2013, a female Yunnan black goat. However, for the first goat genome, these are very short-lived sequence, and the repetitive sequence, repetitive means the sequence which are constantly repeated. Suppose AT, adenine, thymine, adenine, thymine, adenine, thymine. These are repetitive sequence. And the repetitive sequence are mostly prevalent in the telomeric region and the centromeric regions. So initially, these early reference genome published in the 2013 lack those sequencing information of this repetitive sequence. So in the year 2016, using PacBio long-read sequencing technology, a major breakthrough happened for whole goat genome. However, these PacBio sequencing cannot sequence the X and Y chromosome, which is remain incomplete. That will lead to challenges for understanding the sex-linked trait because these are present in X chromosome and some of the reproductive genetics. Though repetitive sequence were sequenced by PacBio long-read sequences, the X and Y chromosomes are remain incomplete. Then in the year 2021, a Shannon V assembly were covered by high coverage long-read sequence. That is also through PacBio sequence, but they have added high-C technology, that means chromatic interaction data, to get the more information and the three-dimensional organization of the chromatin. Why the male animal is used in the sequencing here? Because male contains both X and Y chromosomes. So in the year 2000, what is started, that is sequencing of the first genome of the goat. Coming to 2016, the complete genome of the goat genome was sequenced except X and Y chromosome. And in the year 2021, it also includes the X and Y. Then the latest technology, the telomere to telomere sequence, that is published in the 2024, and it produced a sequence information around 3 GB. Here a full complete Y chromosome has been assembled. That means we know the information of Y chromosome of goat in the telomere to telomere sequencing. So it has also successively added a massive 288.5 megabase of genomic content that was previously unreserved or missing. 446 new genes were discovered that encode for resistance and metabolic functions. So in the year 2013, 2016, and 2021, and then finally the 2024, there is improvement in the sequencing of the goat genome. So what we achieved by genome analysis of the goat genetic insight? We have learned some of the domestication origin, how the Capra hircus, that is present in the goat, is originated from Capra hircus around 10,500 years ago. What are the genes responsible for the coat color in goat? That became evident. The behavioral traits that are influenced by genes are also decoded. Some of the immune response genes are also decoded. The production traits, the milk production, meat production, and fiber production have been mapped. That means they have been identified in which chromosome they are present. So these are some of the achievements of the goat genome analysis. So what is the future of goat genomics? Towards pan-genome reference. That means every breed is having different genome or genetic composition. So how we can annotate the fully functional pan-genome? That should be done. And it requires immense computation skills, technical expertise, and sufficient amount of investment also. The functional genomics and epigenetics should be studied. The same animals, I am giving you a very peculiar example of epigenetics. The same twins, how they are behaving differently. It is only due to epigenetics. That means the DNA methylation of the genetic organism. The histone modification is also affected. The same two individuals in the twin, they are behaving differently. Then sustainable agriculture and climate resilience. That will also can be covered. How the climate resilient goat breed can be developed in the genomics. You'll be surprised to know some of the technology like CRISPR-Cas technology that can edit the genome of the goat and produce some of the animals which will be specifically designed for a particular environmental condition. So I have covered the three aspects, the sustainable of goat farming. First one is the feeding, second one is the management, and the third one is the breeding. And I have given some of the insights how the future breeding or the future goat breeding is going to happen. Some of the practical steps that we have to think in the farmers club, that is market and resource assessment. If a farmer is not having a good market or a regular market, he is not going to manage the goats. And the resource management, what are the resources farmer is having? He should have sufficient input in form of the gas or in form of the manpower, in form of the browsing material. So these are some resources for the goat farming that should be available to the farmers. And it will ultimately lead to diversification of the income. In the farmers park, we should be developing as a technical input for the breeding stock improvement, infrastructure and breeding stock investment. The breeding stock is the primary aspect for the farmers for development. Then training in the farmers community, leverage in the farmer community, that should be also done. Entrepreneurial potential and market trends. There is a growing market for goat products. You will be surprised that different European and Australian countries are now switching to goat industry. Why? What is the reason? Because we know the African and the Asian countries are the real consumer of the goat. And the population of the African and Asian country are more as compared to European or Australian countries. Since the living standards of the Asian and African country are gradually increasing, there is a global demand for the goat products. So we should be sufficiently focused for the goat industry, and there should be some value addition for the goat meat or any product from the goat. The consumer preference is now also shifting from the other meats like chicken or towards the goat meats. And goat industry will be certainly evolve as an emerging market, and there should be a diversification. So some of the key takeaways from the goat farming as a pathway to doubling farmer income. The goat farming should be scalable and profitable. Goats offer a low input and high return agricultural venture that is scalable to various farm sizes. Goat is providing a resilient livelihood. Their adaptability and minimal requirement make them a robust choice, especially in the challenging environment. Goats only suffer from the parasites and some of the infection like nasal infection, or they are suffering from the fever. Other type of infections are not happening in the goat. The socio-economic impact of the goat industry. Beyond income, goat farming empowers the marginalized group. That means the farmers which are not able to purchase a larger animals like cattle, buffalo, they can be focused on the goat farming. Goat farming improves the household welfare and enhances food security. Thank you for your kind attention. And this picture is about the Gonjam goat. If you see, they are kept in a large herd and they are encroached by some of the boundary, and in the night time they are kept like themselves. In this condition, there is no roof, there is nothing like that. They are kept in the open condition, and it is a very good example of sustainable goat industry. Thank
you. Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful lecture. Now the session is open for questions. Questionnaire.